Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Kamen Zero Spike back again once again. And today we're here for Kamen Gotchard episode 7. And in this episode, man, we got a brand new form in this episode. It looked really cool. I think this new form might be my favorite. I don't know, because we know that Gotchard is gonna get a lot of forms, and I think we're we're on our like 8th, maybe like 6th or 7th form now. And I think Thunder like the wrestler form, like the electricity form, and this new form we got. Also, we're getting another new form next week. So, but this form looked dope. But we're gonna get into it. So we see our characters who are going off and they're capturing a Kimmy, and we get introduced to a new Kimmy that they got off screen, which we see that they've gotten a lot of, like, at least 4 Kimmys off screen. And this Kimmy is called Sama Phone, where it's like a little phone Kimmy, and this Kimmy can like detect other Kimmys. So this Kimmy that they're looking for is like a crab Kimmy, and they're basically going fishing for it. And he uses Sabophone to locate he goes fishing and uses Sama phone, and uses this Kimmy to locate the crab Kimmy. They locate it. He like basically pulls it out with a fishing reel. He grabs this Kimmy and he throws it over to everybody else, and then they end up using their alchemy to hold it down while he uses the Kimmy capture, and he ends up capturing this card form, and he got this little crab. So I think this this crab is possibly going to be one of the Kimmys that he uses for the next form in the next episode, which it's purple. I don't like the color purple, but hey, I mean, it's whatever. But I think it's like a bulky type looking form as well. So we see that now that they've captured this Kimmy, they all go back to go back to Ichinose's restaurant, and his house restaurant, and basically celebrate that they got the Kimmy. And also they want to they also like have like a little argument about like who gets to keep the Kimmy. Like he's the one that like fished it out, caught it, and captured it, but they were the ones that like used their alchemy to hold it down so you could capture it. So everybody's kind of have like a little disagreement about that. But then out of nowhere we see this kid who walks in with he sees that they're talking about the Kimmys, and he did see them capture that crab Kimmy. So he comes up and asks them that, hey, can you guys take care of this for me? And he pulls out a little cactus looking Kimmy named Sabo Needle, and he basically wants to get rid of Sabo Needle because his dad told him that, hey, get rid of it, because him and his dad found it together. So you see that Sabo Needle, they say that Sabo Needle's personality is very kind, and it's like kind of like it's a very kind-hearted personality type of Kimmy. And we clearly see that this Kimmy wants to stay with this kid, and the kid's name is Riku. Wow. And this kid, he wants to get rid of the Kimmy because his dad told him to, and Ichinose feels like he feels like they shouldn't be separated and things like that. Like Sabo Needle clearly wants to stay with him, but they ended up capturing it anyway, putting it into a card. And Ichinose kind of feels weird about it, but then Rine Kudo, she pulls him to the side and says that he can't have the Kimmy, the Kimmy can't stay with him. It breaks up, like Kimmys break the natural order and stuff, and him having a Kimmy, he could possibly turn to amalgam and stuff. So, but Ichinose says like, well, Kimmys are created from the evil malice of people, and like it's clear that Sabo Needle wants to stay with him. They shouldn't be separated. And after that they see that the kid Riku has ran off. So Ichinose does go after him to find him, and he meets up with him at like this little park place. While that's happening, we see that the girls are like basically running an errand for Ichinose's mom, and we'll get back to them in a second. But we did see that the Abyssal Sisters are basically talking about like how they keep getting defeated, their amalgams keep getting defeated, and the smallest sister, I haven't learned their names yet, but basically the little girl sister basically says that it doesn't matter because the flask, like we haven't seen this flask, and we still don't see this flask in the episode, but they basically say that the flask still fills up with malice. So even if they don't get the driver, and even if the amalgams that they create are defeated, then it still fills up with a little bit of malice. So it's still they're still essentially still getting what they want, and they said that we can still take the driver, and we'll take the driver when it's convenient to us. So see that the little sister leaves, and she says she's going to go play with a friend, and we see later on who that friend is. But right now we're going to get back to Ichinose. He ends up following Riku and finding him at this little like park place, and he talks to him, and he calls like this kid he kind of peed him off a little bit, but this kid he's not the generic kid character that we get in a lot of Toku stuff, who's like super innocent and nice. This kid don't give a duck. Like this kid's in the 5th grade, and he's like, look man, he calls Ichinose annoying. He says that, oh, I can't focus on my studies when you're here and stuff like that. Like, you see that the kid is studying, and he's like working on math and things like that. He tells him that Riku tells him that his dad basically wants him to get good grades so he can get into a good school, and he doesn't have time for friendship or anything like that. Like, you should also focus on your studies. And we also found out that when they capture Kimmies, it helps their grades. Like, them as students, like them capturing Kimmies and bringing in Kimmies and stuff like that is actually they get graded on. Like, I understand. Like, I mean, I kind of forgot that this is a school anyway, so the whole concept of grades and things like that. But yeah, they get graded on bringing in Kimmy. So I wonder what everybody's grades are. Technically, I guess the more Kimmies you bring in, the better your grades are and stuff like that. So we see that they're talking for a bit, and then he basically says that, hey, I bet I could do that. And then Riku's like, hey, well, if you want to know so much, then how about do this problem for me? And he said, hey, if you can't do it, you got to buy me a drink. And Ichinose is like, all right, cool, I'll buy it. And he looks at it, and he sees the math, and he's doing like shapes and angles and things like that. Like, he's doing like the triangle, square, all that type of stuff. He's doing that type of math. And Ichinose can't do it. Then we skip forward, and we see that he ends up buying the kid a drink anyway because he couldn't figure it out. While all this is happening, we see that a new amalgam is essentially being created. We see that one of the sisters is pretending like the sauce, like the sensual, seductive, I guess, freaking sister. She is basically pretending to be a nun, and she's basically manipulating this guy. And you see that this man, he says, all my prayers and everything have been answered. Why? And she basically tells him that, like, take all your negative energy and go eliminate the people who made you have it. And she ends up giving him the dragonfly Kimmy. She is forcing a dragonfly Kimmy onto him, and he becomes a dragonfly amalgam. And we see that he goes off, and he's like, I'm going to eliminate them all. We don't know who he's talking about. I guess maybe he's like super stressed out at work, and maybe he wants to off his co-workers or something. We don't know yet. We don't know why he's feeling this way, but he ends up becoming the dragonfly amalgam. And we also saw this one man staring at Ichinose and Riku while they were in the park, and we say Ichinose and Riku are kind of like having fun and bonding, like having fun and laughing and stuff. And this guy is peed off, and he sees this. So I guess we also, it's the guy that was at the church the first time who got turned into the dragonfly amalgam. So he ends up transforming into the dragonfly amalgam, and just when Ichinose and Riku are about to play this like can kicking game, we see that spike gets shot at them, and they're trying to wonder where it's freaking coming from. But we see that it's the dragonfly amalgam, but he's like shooting. He's basically sniping them. He's basically like a sharp shooting them and stuff like that. So we see that Ichinose hinges up and transforms into his like base form, and he starts deflecting some of the spikes, and he gets Riku out of there. And him and Riku are trying to avoid all the spikes and things like that. And there's one scene where like you see Ichinose in his rider form, and then the next scene he's like out of his rider form. Like, why are you out? Like, I would have stayed in my rider form the whole time. We see that this guy is freaking sniping y'all, and I don't know where it's coming from, and you can't see him. So you should, and you also are trying to protect Riku. So stay in your rider form the entire time until like everything is completely safe. Like, he jumps out of his rider form in the next scene, like, okay, I think we'll be safe here. No, you're not. You don't know where this guy is. You don't know where he's. You don't know what he is. You don't know where he is. You know it's Amalgam, yeah, but still. So we see that Ichinose does have Sabo Needle with him. So we see that Zabimaru goes and tells Minato about what happened with the Sabo Needle, and he basically tells him to go find, basically like go study and find Ichinose so he doesn't do anything weird. And that's when our boy Kurogane comes in, and he's talking to Minato, telling him that why don't you just take the driver from him, like he's clearly not good enough for it. And Minato's like, what's wrong? You're not cool with being Valivard? Like you're not cool with that? And he's like, no, it's not about that. It's about he keeps breaking all of our rules. And that's when we get the whole grading system thing going on, and him and Minato have like a whole talk about ideals and things like that, and we get like a small flashback of like a bunch of Kimis like destroying a city, and this most likely is what happened in the past, the last time all the Kimis were thrown out and stuff like that. And it's like a crap ton of, we see fires everywhere, city going to hell. So while that's happening, we see that we get back to the girls. We see that Rine and I forgot the other girl's name, but they're also hanging together, and they basically get done with the errand that they were doing for Ichinose's mom. And we see that Rine, Kudo, same person, she gets like a little overwhelmed by overwhelmed and stuff by like the menu and stuff, and the girl is like explaining everything that they have, and it's like really racking her brain. So she ends up having like kind of like a little panic attack, and she leaves the like the little tea shop restaurant place. And that's when the little girl Abyssal sister comes up and actually talks to Kudo by name and says, hey Rine, want to play a game? And I'm just like, wait a minute, so does that mean that like her and Rine know each other? Like, is she from Rine's past? Is she like a past friend or whatever? I feel like that's what that is. But why hasn't the little girl grown up? You know, because Rine is clearly way older than her right now. So why isn't she like at least like teenager, young adult status going on right here? But anyway, we get back to Ichinose with Riku, and they're still being shot at by the Dragonfly Amalgam. So that's when he ends up calling Sabimaru and asking him like, "Hey man, I'm being attacked, and I don't know where it is. I don't know, like I don't know what's going on." He talks to Sabimaru, and Sabimaru, he's like, "Describe it." He's like, "I can't describe it. It's just shooting stuff at me." So Sabimaru, he sucks at speaking. Now, we see him talk a lot in this episode, but he's like very soft spoken, like he's very quiet when he speaks. And that's when Valivard comes and talks to him and says that, hey, what are you talking about? You're making a lot of noise over here. And they end up telling Ichinose that you are being attacked by a like dragonfly Kimi, and they describe the dragonfly Kimi to him. And that's when Ichinose tries to fight. He inches up again and tries to fight the dragonfly, but he can't do anything to it. It's shooting at him, and he can't like get a good lock on it. It's super high up in the air. He can't do anything. So he ends up transform. He tries to figure out what Kimis can he use to fly up there and basically take down this guy. But so he ends up using Hawkstar, the Kimi we got last episode. He ends up using Hawkstar, and Sabo Needle, and creating a whole new form, which is like Hawk Needle. And this form looks really cool. I'm glad that it's the armor actually goes down further, so his legs aren't like completely just bare, and he's able to turn like his he's a cactus and a hawk, and he's able to turn like his stalks into wings and stuff. So he ends up using his wings and flying up there, having this air battle with the dragonfly amalgam. And that's for some reason Sabo Needle tries to leaves his driver, and that's when we see Ichinose transformed back to his human form, but he is all the way in the sky. He starts to fall, and while he's falling, the episode ends off right there. Next episode, we're gonna see the new form, Hawk Needle again, and some other stuff. But other than that, this episode it was very simple. But we got small bits of some lore here. We saw that how Valivart was researching the Abyssal Sisters, and he's like, the Abyssal Sisters want to collect malice to open the door to darkness, but what do they need the driver for? Like, why do they exactly need the driver? And that's really not a lot. And we got like a glimpse of the past, like a little small flashback of the past and stuff like that. Like, I don't understand. Like, we got some small little bits and itty bitty pieces of lore, and we're setting up some stuff. But other than that, it wasn't a lot of lore put in this episode. I'm not saying it wasn't a lot, but I'm saying like there wasn't a lot. It really wasn't. It was like small little tidbits of like real plot and real lore that's actually going on here in this world. So yeah, but it was cool. This episode was like extremely simple. We're still basically going on the whole monster of the week type ish, and still really haven't gotten to like the main objective here. Because right now the main objective is just to capture Kimmies. That's really it. Just to capture all the Kimmies that have been released, bring them back to the school and things like that. So, but other than that, like, we really haven't gotten any type of lore, like really like deep diving type real lore of this iteration of Kamen Rider. But yeah, guys, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of this episode of Kamen Rider Gotchard. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you all next time. And remember, stay henshined.